Hey, welcome back to The Melancholy Guy, a companion podcast to my Tumblr blog, The Melancholy Guy, daring to be black, open, and free. The adventures of a divorced, open, polyamorous African American male. I am The Melancholy Guy, Calvin, or CPJR if you know me. And today I definitely believe that change I must or die I will. And that last part has new meaning. So basically, this is a companion podcast, as I said to my Tumblr blog, which can be found at melancholyguy.tumblr.com. And basically, if you've been listening to the show, you already know that it's a blog that I started back maybe 2010, 2011, and it became a place where I basically kept track of and blogged about my conversion or accepting my non-monogamous lifestyle. So basically, I went from non-monogamy to monogamy, and I wrote about it heavily in the beginning, not so much in the end. But basically, it's like a journal that I kept track of all the happenings and all the stories, all the frustrations, all the triumphs of what it takes to, I'm not going to say successfully, but to go through leaving monogamy into non-monogamy. And I think that a lot of people think it's not a process. Think it's easy to do to just jump into a non-monogamous relationship when we don't actually see those a lot. So basically, I started this podcast at sometime in November when I wasn't working, and I started it as a test platform to first see if I can do a consistent podcast, and then see if I can start producing other people's podcasts, and hopefully we'll be building a studio and offering studio space, time, and production services to others who want a podcast. I think everybody should podcast, especially if you're in a not such an alternate lifestyle, or not such a lifestyle that's in the mainstream, or not a lifestyle that's in the mainstream. I was just thinking about it today. Where would I actually be if I didn't start listening to podcasts back in 2010? Because all of a sudden, I think the first podcast I was listening to, I started listening to Stitcher, and I was listening to like Adam Carolla and I don't know, the Don Geronimo show, whatever that show was called. They were basically comedy podcasts, but then I started listening to podcasts by people like Joe Rogan and Christopher Ryan. I'm forgetting the other's name. Is three people in the Shrimp Fest, or three guys: Joe Rogan and Christopher Ryan, and then there's one more. If you listen to either of those podcasts, you know who I'm thinking about, and my mind's going blank. But basically, also with listening to those podcasts, then I found podcasts by like, geez, my mind is going blank today. Wow, I'm blanking out a lot. But different podcasts are learning about human sexuality and alternate ways of thinking. Dan Savage for human sexuality. I started listening to his podcast almost every day and went back and listened to the entire catalog. Then I started listening to, I'm trying to find the other guy, Joe Rogan, Christopher Ryan. There's also someone called Danny. The Drunken Taoist podcast, the Drunken Taoist podcast. It was a very good one too. Duncan Trussell. So Duncan Trussell, Christopher Ryan, and Joe Rogan. So basically, just talking about all types of things. A lot of people will call it like consciousness or being woke. Thinking of talking about different, ways of living, such as taking mushrooms and psychedelics and all that kind of stuff to broaden your horizon. Me myself, I'm not there right now. I've talked about that. I've had addiction issues, so um, I'm living a clean and sober life right now. And but I don't know. There's some treatments or therapies like ayahuasca, things like that are taking in a ritualistic setting with shamans to guide you through things. I might still be open to that type of thing. You have to travel like to somewhere in Central America or South America, and just basically go through the entire ritual of taking those psychedelics. So basically, I think it's DMT, and to um, to broaden your mind to see what's bothering you. So basically, a lot of people believe that at the base of any type of addiction or trauma, there's always something else. There's an underlying issue, and a lot of I'm turning this into an addiction podcast. Okay, wait a minute. All right, so I'm gonna go back to what this podcast is for, and I think I'm gonna talk about that in the present. So we were talking about my transition, how I came from monogamy into non-monogamy, and back in, like I said, I'm gonna do a brief recap. So basically, I was married. We had started talking about these type of issues, these type of things before we got married. After we got married, like I said, I started listening to podcasts. I was in a state of transition, and one day I'll talk about that transition. I used to be a Christian, and I came out of Christianity on my own by researching, studying. And as you research and study, you start finding more things out about yourself and about the world. And how about these systems that we have in place, patriarchy, white supremacy, monogamy, all these things are systems that were set in place that were told to us as being how we should live and how you will thrive and how you will be happy. But of course, it's not true for everybody, because it can't be, because marriages only one out of every two survive. People marry multiple times. People get divorced. People are unhappily married. People kill their spouses, kill their kids. So obviously, there's not a one-size-fit-all solution. And somehow we've gotten convinced, or we were convinced, that everyone should strive to be monogamous. So here's the thing, though. I don't think I ever bought that. I think it was around about sometime after college, sometime with my first job, I decided, well, not my first job, actually, when I got into IT, I felt as though to better my career, I need to settle down, to be taken more seriously. I grew a beard. I thought that if, you settle down, you get married. I was also a Christian back then, so there's a whole thing about sin and sex. So I decided that I needed to find a wife, and that's what I did. I found a wife. I wasn't looking for a wife, wasn't looking for growth. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and it wasn't the right thing to do for me. It wasn't my truth. So anyway, second marriage, first divorce, second marriage. This time I'm seeing the same thing happening, and then I say, hey, I gotta do something different, because I don't want to get a divorce. I love you. We want to do something, so we decided to go swinging. There's a bunch of episodes before this one, if you're interested, to find out how we decided to go into swinging. But so basically, I started out talking about swinging 101. I was talking about the basics of how you find people to swing with. I was talking about your agreement. I talked about how the swinging environment is a environment of 100% consent. No means no, yes means yes, and you must ask before touching anyone. And you don't want to get a bad reputation. And then last week, I think I know I talked about. um, what did I talk about last week? I talked about. I was going to talk about two subjects. I was going to talk about rebonding. So that's basically a benefit that you get from swinging. A couple gets from swinging is something that they should do after playtime, a party, an orgy, or whatever. The couple I recommend should rebond with each other. You probably will. Basically, spend time with each other. Make love to each other, just get back into the relationship. Once you open it up, and then you can close it back up for a minute, a day, a time, a session, whatever, but just take time to rebond. And then I want to talk about validation, something that's done on the sites. And I'm going to talk about building community. So basically this episode number 24, it's going to be swinging, building community. So I know I've talked about before how swinging is sort of everywhere, but not seen. You probably is more seen now than it was before, due to I think some shows, some movies, and basically the internet. So basically, you can find. I think if you ever look up the history, swingers used to talk about this. They used to read personals and send cards and wait for the cards to come back. And so basically, there was no computer. There was the mail. That's how you found people to swing with. If you ever, like I said, if you ever, as a book, I'm gonna get it next weekend. If you want to read on the history of swinging, there used to be big parties and hotel takeovers, and it was really something, because basically they were breaking the law. You know what I'm saying? Because this stuff is illegal, especially with alcohol is involved, and like consensually group sex is not something that can happen out in the open, because you basically be seen as a deviant and all that kind of stuff. But things are relaxing a little bit. I think everyone knows where their swingers club is in any particular state or area, or you can find it. It's everything I'm talking about is you can find it on Google, because I found it on Google. That's basically it. Through podcasts, searching on Google and stuff like that, I found it. So I talked about rebonding, and this I want to talk about building community, because I think it's an important topic to talk about, because I don't want to talk about it for us, because we sort of stumbled onto it. This was before Facebook groups and everything. Facebook was pretty much 2011, 2012. Facebook on a mobile device really sucked, and you basically used Facebook on the computer. I think it was just being opened up, and the groups hadn't started and stuff like that. So you had to actually get involved on the site. So basically, one thing about people, you're dealing with people and sex, is that people can be cruddy, right? People can do things out of desperation, thinking that that's the only way they can do it, and they will do mischievous, I call it shenanigans, just to get sex. And I talked about, I think last week, last week I talked about the party we went to in November. And what I'm going to do right now, in building, when I say in building community, I'm talking about as you meet people, because I talked about our first couple, first outing, and as you meet people, you just take down names and stuff, and you start to keep track of that stuff. Keep track of who you know, because who you know will know someone else, and they'll vouch for you. And then on the site, you also get to validate people. This is something that I think is missing. We have, or there is polyamorous dating groups on Facebook. There's just poly discussion groups and things like that. There's travel groups, and then there's swinging groups. I don't recommend the swinging groups because here's one thing that the sites do that Facebook doesn't do. They don't validate or certify. So basically, as you meet people and go out with people, your profile is open for that couple, and you can't delete them. For I don't know. I should check that before I say that. Nope. You can't delete your validations or certifications. So basically that's unless you close your account, open a new account. And I'm gonna read about something that happened to us early on. So I talked about I think last week. Hey, I'm back on a weekly basis because I have time. I'm not doing too much, but I'm actually gonna. I'm probably having interviews next week, so I'll probably be working real soon. But I'm gonna structure my life in such a way that this is what I'm going to be doing: podcasting, working, and I have my other business idea. This is basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to cut out all that going out chasing things that I don't need right now. Basically, it ain't making me no money, and I'm not looking for another relationship. But I do want to support the community. That's one thing I want to do, and if I find a safe way or whenever it's time, I will be back out there in the community, supporting events, going out, buying things and stuff like that. I think it's important to support the community. And I always say the community because it's not big. There's not a lot of people that, live like this, behave like this, think like this. It's a different way of thinking anyway, and living. We talked about the party last week, and I talked about David and Yvette, a couple that we met there, and I talked about another person that we met. And this is how you start building your community. You actually have to. It's not like Facebook, or because I think it's better in that way. You start making contact with people on the sites. Like I said, you have to pay because everyone has to pay in order to send messages back and forth. But you do start meeting right away. It's not like and it's local because you want to, hook up with people and have sex. So basically, it's pretty local. I think the farthest that we ever met anybody was maybe Baltimore. I'm in Maryland, the DMV, close to DC. So we hung out in Baltimore a lot, which is like an hour outside of where I'm at now, an hour away from DC, hour and a half. And then we met people, I think, far as like Richmond, or not Richmond, a little bit before Richmond, maybe what's that place called? Fredericksburg. Not even Fredericksburg, I'm sorry, like Lawton area. I forget what it's called. Anyway, so out there, Virginia down 95, we met some people down there. We never went. Went on dates. So you're on the site and you're meeting people and you're setting up dates. As you set up dates and play with different people, what's going to happen is you're going to change how you play, how you operate in the swinger world. You're going to find out what kind of swinger you really are because you don't know at first. You don't know how you're going to react. You don't know how you're going to like being around certain people. And as you get experience, you're going to change your profile. You're going to change your rules. You're going to change your agreements with your spouse. And then you're going to start knowing who not to mess with because of people have bad certifications and bad validations on their profiles. You're gonna know who not to mess with because people take messed up pictures. They don't take real pictures, and then you show up and you're like, wait a minute, oh, okay, that wasn't you, and things like that. And actually, I found there's actually a couple who had completely other pictures on their site. It wasn't them at all. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. So I'm gonna read 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna read like I think 3 or 4 entries. So basically, we had one weekend. So after we went to the New Year's Eve party and had a great time, and then and from there, we started meeting other people, started going on other dates. We had our first couple who we stuck with the entire time, and then we met a new couple, and then we just started making, connecting with other people. I want to talk about some single women too. That's going to be a whole separate episode because I think that's going to take two to get that out. I'm thinking I'm talking about threesomes and unicorns. I never took the issue with them until I got into polyamory. It's a whole different situation how single women are looked at in polyamory than swinging. So that's going to be separate. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit actually, because actually after that party we did have something happen with the couple we met, Dave and Yvette. But then I think this is because this is going to relate to validations and certifications. So basically, we were approached, or we actually, I don't know, we got in contact with some couple. I think I talked about this a little bit. This couple was coming down from Philly because people would travel. And sometimes when people travel, they'll say, I'm going to be in this town. What's up? Can we hang out? So this couple was coming in town from Philly. And I had talked about how we changed our profile to read that no play on the first date. So you have a couple coming down from Philly and they're wanting to meet you. A lot of times couples don't have that same rule. They just want to play. All right. So couples coming down from Philly, they are like, yeah, we're going to meet you on Friday night. We'll have a date. Meet us up. We're going to meet them in Baltimore. Or actually right outside of Baltimore. I think at the same restaurant we met our first couple at. So yeah, we were gonna meet them at this place. So we worked. Everybody was contacting each other that day. People trading pictures. Our wives were in contact. Told you about that, fellas. I'm gonna keep saying that. Let the women do the talking, and you'll be fine. Step back. So they were talking. Everything was cool. My ex was, she was happy. She was looking forward to it. Came home, changed, got into our attire for the evening, and we were gonna go out. And we got a call. Traffic had, they were saying that traffic has them tied up, and traffic had them tied up and they're going to be a little bit late. So we were in the car. We came back in the house and we were going to chill, waiting for them. Obviously, I think back then I would drink, so I was pre-gaming. Didn't want to get drunk because I wanted to, go meet them. So it's getting later. They call back, say they're stuck. Then all of a sudden, we hear nothing back from them. We never heard from them again that night. Ruined our Friday night because basically we either would have gone out with somebody else or just chill, just us for the night, or just went out and had dinner, or like I said, made other arrangements. But because we were already dressed for this, I think we already had plans for the Saturday night too, because we weren't going to, like I said, we weren't going to do anything. We were just going to go meet them and, dinner and drinks basically was our night. But they disappeared. We didn't hear from them. I was pissed because we were up late. We were tired, dressed. I think we did go out and eat because we were dressed. Maybe not a fancy place, just a quick meal, quick bite. But we were pissed. So I'm going to start reading now. I'm going to start February 17th, one entry, February 18th, February 20th, 21st. I wrote all these entries from this weekend. And then something happened the next night too. And remember, this is all going to be about talking about building your community and validation. All right, so this is the first one. It's Friday, so it's meet and greet night. Meeting a new couple tonight for dinner. The wives have been texting and talking. It seems to be going well so far. The other couple is coming in from out of town, so I don't know the next time we'll meet if we hit it off. Wish us luck. We are supposed to visit another couple on Saturday night for some play. I need to talk about them too. But we may skip this one due to the lack of interest. Heidi wasn't too enthused about meeting the guy again. We both love the woman of the couple, but Heidi wasn't too thrilled with the guy for a particular reason. I'm not going to mention it on this podcast. So I may be on the prowl Saturday night. I don't know where I was thinking about I was going. I could use a good dose of NRE. Okay, so this is February 17th. And when I say like on the prowl, like I told you before, I'm not sure of when we exactly started. February 12th, going to that party, we already had met people. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm probably going to either meet, because like I said, we had some single women involved in our mix. I'm not sure when that started, but we had other people we knew. Especially if we're talking about meeting this other couple on Saturday night, because that was a group that we were involved with. And I was saying this is about building a community. So we were getting involved with different groups, different couples, and it actually, you have to do this. It's all about meeting people. It's all about, pressing the flesh, making connections, and making friends and lovers. So the next entry I wrote on February 18th, 2012, stood up sucks. Friday night was supposed to be meet and greet with a new couple. Received a text once we got in our car on our way to the restaurant. They were running a bit late, and then later. Another text a bit later, then nothing. Just like I said, they disappeared. Strange. Why the need to lie? We'll never know. We did find out. But we will have to do a better job of screening. But at least we got to spend the morning together. Date with some old friends tonight. Should be fun. So obviously morning was rebonding. So that was good. So then on February 19th, so the next day, so the next day was Saturday, obviously. And the couple that we were supposed to meet, so there was this guy, he lived around the area I'm at now, in the area of Fort Washington. He had a nice house out there in Fort Washington, nice large house. So his thing was to, he had a swing partner. He wasn't married. So I forget where she lived. Maybe it was New Jersey, something like that. But she would come down on the weekends and they would host, gatherings of people. So we went there. I think we went there one night and didn't spend the night. Very nice house. Very nice time. I think it was like a football game. I think it was a football game party or something like that because they had jerseys on, I remember. So I think we went to the party and to the gathering, just us two. So the party was set up for 3 couples, a single male and a single female, single woman. And so I think the guy didn't show up. The other couple came a little bit late, and the single woman came. Her name was Angel. I forget his name, her name, something with a D, but we liked her a lot. And him, not so much. He wasn't up to par in a certain area. But he was a nice guy though. Anyway, for her, she my ex told me this. She wasn't too, I don't know. Anyway, so we had a great time that night. Actually, we chilled with them. The other couple came, like I said, came in kind of late, and his house was laid. He had a special room with a special couch, chilled out. That was a nice night. We had a good time, and mixed it up. I think we went home late in the morning, and it was a very, very, with the single woman. I think Heidi and the single woman hit it off. Damn, my ex-wife and the single woman hit it off. They were friends after that. Still. So, and then the other woman was single too. So we were trying to date like both of them. We weren't trying to do that really, but it just happened to work out like that we sort of like liked her. And they weren't actually married. So anyway, so we were supposed to meet this couple. She was supposed to come in town. He had to work on the weekend or Saturday. So they too, all of a sudden, start, pushing back the time we were supposed to meet. and it was Saturday. I think we did our normal Saturday rituals, and so we were chilling. And then they said, "Well, we're not ready. We're not ready. It's getting later. It's getting later. It's getting later. It's getting later." And then all of a sudden, we don't want to go. One thing, my ex wasn't too enthused about, being with him for play. He was a cool dude. She liked him that way, but wasn't interested in him physically. But we both liked her. So it's getting later and later. So I'm like, she's like, "Do you want to go? We're going to meet for dinner just to meet." But we had to drive. Like, we lived in Silver Spring. They lived in Fort Washington. If you know anything about the area, that's like an hour and a half on the road. Maybe an hour there, an hour back. It's a lot of driving. It's already late. Probably already been drinking. And then get there, and are we gonna play? Probably won't play, just eat. But who knows? It's always a late night with swingers. She's not really interested in the guy. Why we keep going? So anyway, I'm gonna read the next entry. Friday night was supposed to be a meet and greet. I think. No. Huh. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Next entry. Stood up sucks. Friday night was supposed to be a meet and greet with a new couple. Received a text, and once we got in our car and went to the restaurant, they were running a bit late. I think I read these texts out of order. No, I did. No. I'm sorry. I wrote. So Friday night was supposed to be a meet and greet with a new couple. Received a text. Once we got in our car on our way to the restaurant, they were running a bit late, and then later, another text a bit later, then nothing. Strange. Why they need to lie? Did I read this? I will never know. But I think I did read this. I'm not sure what I'm doing now. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna read the next one. It's going to take. I have to take better notes. I do apologize if I'm mixed up. My throat's. So the weekend. This is on February 19th, 2012. The good weekend that wasn't. It's going to take a couple of weeks to unpack the disaster that was our weekend. The swinging part of our non-monogamy really got complicated this weekend. I'll post more about what exactly happened during the week. But for now, the new mantra is quality over quantity. I need to sleep. So basically, I was saying I'm up 2 nights late, and I needed to sleep. So I'm going to read the next entry, February 21st, 2012. I said, I'm parking part uno. I previously posted how last weekend was a complete bust. No problems in our marriage or partnership. We just talked it out and kept it moving. We were stood up and lied to by a new couple on Friday night, and our regular couples turned our Saturday play date into a late night booty call. Right. We don't do the booty call thing. If you can't keep the regular time within an hour, just cancel. That's a rule. So we started asking ourselves, how do we get here? After finally finalizing our motto of partnered non-monogamy, that's what we're calling it, we are being stood up, lied to, and booty called. We have concluded that open random swinging may not be our motto. We are looking for more of a partnered poly swinger model. We love group sex and we don't want to give that up, but we are also looking for relationships with couples and singles. Now it's time for new rules. So you can see that things were changing, and it was changing pretty quickly. Like I said, we had went out with a few couples. We had been at that party. So the whole thing about them booty calling, it was like, it seemed just weird. They were the guy was working, and he had to end up working late. She came in late, and we were supposed to meet like 9 or something, but it was like 12 o'clock before they were like, come on up. come on down. I said it was late. We're not coming down that late, and it wasn't specifically for a play date. It was for dinner and stuff. So, but then it would have turned into that because it's so late. We probably would have had staying down there, and then coming back the next day. We've done that a couple times. So I think the chaos comes from, and this is before, and see, this thing I was telling you about, with the validations and the certifications, we were just meeting people off the cuff. We didn't know these people from anyone. You're meeting people for the first time. And so basically we didn't, and these couples, the couple that I'm talking about that actually stood us up had no validations, nothing. They just had some sketchy pictures. I think we traded pictures. Everybody looked cool. But they had no real profile and other people who knew who they were. So anyway, they got busted that Sunday night. Remember, if you remember, I may have told you that the site or the old Black Swingers Club, whatever it was called before, was like Facebook. So basically, that Sunday night, I'm on there just pissed, probably a little drunk, and posting stuff about this is fucked up, what happened, and tagging them in it, and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, some other couples recognized that who they were, right? They had actually went out with other people. They had made like 3 or 4 different dates for the same night because they were going to make sure that if they're coming down here from Philly for the weekend, that they were going to play. So I guess they figured they'd just make as many dates as possible, starting from Baltimore down, because they actually met the couple in Baltimore, and they actually said they were pissed too because they didn't know about them standing anyone else up, although they did play with them in Baltimore. But so basically their account got shut down because they were cruddy. They were up to shenanigans and willing to risk reputation. And this is another thing people can get around the whole validation thing is people can shut down their account. If it's not a paid account or if it's only paid, you can do month to month, or you could do like yearly 6 months. So some people don't do like the whole, the gold level account. They'll do just enough to get contacts and just to get, their motivation is just the sex, just to play. So they aren't worried about the validations and certifications. So I'm saying all this to say that if you get into this thing, if this is something that you want to try or something that you want to do, patience. When you first get into it, it took us, I'm not sure the number of dates, but to get to that rule about no playing on the first night. And I'm blanking out because I don't remember how many times we went out before the party on New Year's Eve and how many times afterwards. But I know about what I'm talking about next week, hotel dates. And I know that validations. So once we had that happen, we just broke down. Like we came up with a code word on if we're going to bail on a couple and not hang out with them. We started making sure that other people knew them. They were validated. They were active on the sites. They were not up for shenanigans. They were in town, and they actually had the same rule about no playing on the first date because all couples didn't. Of course, we broke that rule a few times, but that was something that from that point on, we made sure it was going to happen, and it had to be in place because that was a wasted weekend. That was not only was a wasted weekend because we were waiting up so late to actually go out. We probably would have been up late if we went out too anyway, but it was a frustrating weekend. It's like it kind of hurts your trust level. Like, who can you trust in this thing? And when people are really, desperate to play, to go out and have sex, you know what I'm saying? So that wasn't our thing. And we kind of started to realize that because you can see like I'm changing the wording. I'm using the words like part of non-monogamy, part of non-monogamy, and not really. I'm starting to use the word swinger. That was in a few months, because once, like I say, once you get into it and start meeting people, you start meeting some cruddy people. Like I said, I love swingers, love to go with them. And the thing about Facebook, I was put into some swinger groups, and I got to see how cruddy they can be, because those don't have validations. You can't really, if you probably get a reputation in those groups, but you can't have a profile that's validated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna show you specifically. I'm gonna read some about, because we had two profile. We had the profile from, like I said, Black Swingers Club, and then we had the other one on Swing Lifestyle. I think we changed our name and lost our certifications on Black Swingers Club, but I still have the ones posted from Swing Lifestyle. So I'm going to read like one of those or a couple of those. So we had one, they did like 5/10, 2012, 6/6, 6/6, 2012, and like 7/14. So like the summer of 2012, we were pretty active. And you get things like, this is from a single woman that we dated. She validated us, and she was like, very nice couple to get to know. If you get the chance to meet them, don't pass it up. I always enjoyed myself when we play together. That was from a single woman. And another one read, what a great couple to be around. They have attended 2 of our events and have enjoyed hosting them. They will always be more than welcome to hang with us. We look forward to long, fun relationship. If you can't meet them, do it. See you soon, N and J. And that was from another part of our life. Like I said, once we went through these shenanigans, we actually met this second one. This was a couple. We actually met them in Baltimore at the Club Taboo. We went there because we went to Club Taboo, and we went there for a meet and greet from groups. It was like a open night, I think, like a Friday night. We spent the night in Baltimore. We spent the weekend in Baltimore, and spent the weekend in Baltimore, and met them. Didn't do anything that night. Just went in and had a good time in the club. It's a fun place. Actually very chill. Club upstairs, playroom downstairs. They got separate rooms. They got BDSM rooms, kink rooms, all kind of things. So it's a nice place to go to. Don't have to really be swinging, but you have to join. So everything is membership. I told you about how that works with the alcohol. And then I have one more I'm going to read. Now, this was another couple, exotic erotic couple. I'm going to read this one because this is more in depth. And the reason I'm going to read this one is because you're going to hear about this couple again. And they actually are part of our move or our transition into polyamory. So I'm going to read this and pretty much wrap it up for the night. So I'm going to read our, if it's still there, I'm going to see, I think our validation of them is still there. I'm going to see if it's there and see what we wrote. First and foremost, this is definitely a wishing well couple. He's a good writer because he wrote this. We wish we could look as good as them when we get to where they are in life. I think we were 10 years older than them. This is a beautiful and attractive couple. We met them by happen chance through another couple. That was a night of shenanigans. I'll tell you about that. And are very happy to have had the opportunity. If we knew what we knew about them now, we would have reached out to them then. We'd have reached out to them. Now that we're hoping that we can develop a lasting friendship with these two so that we can explore more with them. If your preference in partners includes someone with class, that are respectful, they have a great attitude in the lifestyle, they are definitely a couple you would want to meet. Nothing but pleasure. That was cool. And they were cool people. But more about them later. That's a whole story. It's going to be an interesting one too. Let me see if I could find the validation or certification that I wrote to them. They say all these accounts are still active. I'm not sure if they're still active. I think they are. They have 25 certs. We had 3. That's how much they play. Um, and their last ones are from 2016. Oh, they were still active. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. And the reason I'm doing this because I want to just show how it works. Okay, we were called Infinite Couple. We had like 2 names. We had like we were first a Q couple. Because I don't know why I changed the name from Q couple to Infinite Couple, and then we were Many Loves. Because there's something happened because we got a Infinite Notorious name because when we first met that couple. They were like, "Oh, it's the Notorious Many Loves or Q couple," because of what happened that night when we exposed that couple for the crap they did. Blew the whole site up that night. Okay, so this is what I wrote to them. We finally got a chance to encounter the exotic erotic couple. That was their name. And they lived up to their name. Very friendly, attractive, fun, accommodating couple. We met them and some other new friends, and everything just fell into place. I think they can go all night long because I know they were still at it when we left at 3 a.m. Definitely bring your A game when and if you get the chance for some play with these two. Looking forward to the next time. So that's what I wrote for them, and so basically, and they have like 25s because they were very active in the community. And I'm just looking through their validations right now, and they have like everybody's like, wow, oh. So I don't know. I used to say like if you looked at her, she is like the epitome of like sex. I mean, she was a beautiful woman. Just a beautiful woman. Just think about her. It's just like wow. She was a very nice. They're a very cool couple. Like I said, we definitely fell for them hard, and kind of wanted more, but it was all new to them. The whole concept of polyamory. But I'll talk about that later. So basically, and then from this point. From this point, this is like I'm gonna go back and talk about the other couple next week because I want to talk about hotel dates and how important it is to set those up properly. Overnights, hotel dates and overnights. So it's important to keep a good reputation and actually go slow in meeting people because there are other groups in meetups. People who screen are heavy. And vet heavy. They vet based on looks, based on other things. And there's some people who are just because something happened on that night when we were with the exotic rider couple. So there's people who are just trying to get a nut, and you could avoid a lot of headaches. And the same thing goes for polyamory too. But it's a different setup. But you're going to avoid a lot of headaches and trouble and drama if you take your time. Take your time, get to meet people, and have some set rules in place. Because, you're going to get the chance to play. That's the thing. Patience is the key. It's going to be about quality over quantity. To have, because I'm looking at they are the golden couple in my eyes. Like this couple right here. This was a quality couple, and we knew they were a quality couple because they had nothing but pictures from their other nights. Everybody knew them. And that's how you want to be. You want to have a good reputation in the swinging world. So when you start building your community, you can have quality. You know what I'm saying? Have good times, and then you can have times you can do other things besides the sex and the play. You can have friends, long lasting friends. So, and it's gonna improve your marriage, your relationship, your partnership, and I guarantee it for real if you do it right. And that's the key. And building your community is going to be about quality over quantity. And I'm going to leave it right there. With that, that was a good one, I think. And so next week, I'm going to talk about hotel dates. And I'm like, what happens when I run out of stories? Because I'm gonna run out of stories real fast and entries. Actually, I got a lot more to go. It seems like I went through. It seems funny because I'm going through the thing, and it seems like everything was moving fast, but back then it was moving slow because you're just constantly meeting people. It was an exciting time. It was fun. And I think I like that more than anything else. I like the dates and going out. And at this time, I was working, pretty hectic job in IT. My career was on the up. Heidi was working. My ex-wife was working. And we had our business still too. We still had the mobile events, DJ business going too. So we were busy like every weekend and having a great time, and everything was good. This was like a real high point in our relationship because we were pretty much on the same team, but we were also getting ready to eventually come out of swinging because of the shenanigans. Like I said, that weekend was terrible. And so that first couple on Friday night, they disappeared, of course. They closed their account, and because they had their fun. Their goal was met for that weekend. But the other couple, we still were involved with them and the other single female and the other couple. So the world's expanding. We're meeting people. The community is being built. So I'm going to talk about some more next week. I've been on this thing for, let's see, seems like 51 minutes. Okay, this is going long. I don't want to go over an hour. And so I'm just going to talk about, the show is broken up in 3 parts: past blog, present life, future recovery. So presently in life, doing my thing, so basically, like I said, I'm looking for a new job. So basically I have interviews set up next week. Everything's going well in that area. I'm being very patient and very picky in that area. Because I've been in this field for a while, and I know what's going to work for me and be successful. For the last couple of positions, I think I've just been taking the first thing that came along, working a couple contracts, and I don't know. I really want to work downtown. So I'm being picky in that area as about where I work at and where I accept interviews. So interviews are set up for next week. Excited about that. And that's going to pick up. So that's hopefully going to, keep me going in the whole, the podcaster thing and that studio. But like I said, I do have plans for another business. That's going to kick off right away as soon as that money gets in place. And I'm excited about it. I'll talk about that more. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm just going to talk about it when it happens real soon. And so future recovery, I'm still clean and sober, doing my thing one day at a time. It's great. I'm loving it. My mind's getting clear. Like I said, not that, I'm not, no alcohol. You know what I'm saying? The brain gets very clear when there's no alcohol running around in the system. I used to think I was a lot, funnier or had more fun when I'm drunk. Actually, I'm just more obnoxious. And, I basically don't have a filter anyway. I will talk about any subject at any given time. But and when I'm like that, drunk or whatever, it's worse. Or I get moody and I'll disappear. Well, it's either or. So basically, it's good to be clean and sober today. So that's it. I'm going to be back next week, Friday or Saturday, probably Friday night. I'll do the next podcast, and I'll be talking about hotel dates. I hope you're getting something out of this. If you're looking at it, if you're listening to it, like I said, please, iTunes, if you can rate and subscribe. YouTube, rate and subscribe. It'd be nice to get a rating on iTunes. I don't, like I say, I'm doing this for me. No one listens. That's great. Like, my numbers are not high. My numbers are flat. But I like doing this in this space. I hope to expand it out. I'm not sure what's going to happen after I get to the end of all these entries and the end of everything, because I'm not dating anymore. I'm poly celibate. And I'll probably be that way for a minute. So I'm just healing and getting better by myself, and I appreciate that. First time in my life ever. Feels good. So with that, always remember to love and respect yourself first, and everything else will take care of itself. Peace and namaste.